Welcome back, everyone. It's just another day in the life as a military wife, and Merry Christmas. We're in the Twilight Zone all over again because it's UFOs and toxic waste, and welcome to America because these are first world problems I'd never really thought of until now. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun going on those things, and little one has hiccups, so you might be hearing those too. I'm your host, Sam Wolf, and you're listening to The Life of a Military Wife. Okay, so things have gotten a little strange, and I've read way too many articles about all these things, but I figured that means I'm able to explain them to all of you. Or maybe you've read all these same articles and you've already heard more than you care to about this. In that case, yeah, maybe I'll cover something new. But after the wonderful last spy balloon fiasco, NORAD was told to turn up their sensitivity rates, which means they were finding all sorts of fun little objects in the air that they previously didn't really pay attention to. Feel however you want about that. I'm still processing that one. Um, but, well, one new thing about the spy balloon, evidently it was being tracked by the US government all the way from its launch. So why they didn't take it out sooner, I don't really know, considering it intentionally flew over a lot of major military installations, invading our military airspace on multiple occasions. So yeah, that's fun. Chinese spy balloon, yay. No. Second of all, they used a Sidewinder missile to take it out over the ocean when we had cheaper and better options that would have left it more intact. So, yeah, also scratching head about that one. But then, when we thought everything was finally calming down, um, then we got 3 UFOs that were shot down by the US military per the direction of the White House. Okay, so let's talk about those because that's fun, right? The first one was shot down over Alaska, and the debris is believed to be in an ice cap and hasn't really been recovered yet. So, goody. Um, because the temperature is negative 50 degrees with wind chill. So, we'll get to that when we get to that, I guess. The second UFO, because I'm calling them UFOs because A, that's what most people are more familiar with, and it's kind of just more fun to say. Um, Not the word they use technical terms they've updated and changed the terminology, but I like UFO. People know what that is. Anyway, second UFO was shot down over Canada in some really tall, snowy mountains. We are currently assisting the Canadians with locating the debris, um, and the Canadians are working on retrieving it. But we've got more information on that one. That one's going to be fun when we get back to that one. Um, Third UFO was shot down around the US Canadian border and looks like it in Lake Huron. And it looks like it ended up on the Canadian side. Oh, yeah. P.S. That one took 2 Sidewinder missiles to take out. P.S. All of these, we use Sidewinder missiles to get rid of them. Yeah. So, cost of a Sidewinder missile is $472,000 each. And we used one on the Chinese spy balloon in the Atlantic Ocean, one on the UFO in Alaska, one on the UFO in Canada, and two, yeah, 2 of those suckers on the one over Lake Huron. Goody. So I'm no expert, but that puts us at approximately $12 million in missiles. I point this out because there are technology slash techniques we have in the US military that could have taken out some, if not all, of these objects that are a lot more cost effective. 2 missiles. One is now at the bottom of the lake because they missed. P.S. Other notable little fact, second UFO, which we're getting back to now, turns out probably, this report I got from the space.com. Evidently it might have been a Pico balloon. Oh, sorry, yawn there. Evidently an amateur radio club said that their Pico balloon, which is a little $12 party balloon, silver one. I'm looking at a picture of this right now, so I'm describing it accurately. With a string and then what looks like a little computer chip. It's not, but it's a little piece of ham radio technology, a little tracker with some little solar panel wings that come out the sides. Yeah, that one went missing right around when we blew UFO number 2 out of the sky. The one over Canada. I'm not sure the Canadians are going to find any debris because I'm pretty sure if that's what it was and a Sidewinder missile hit it, there's not going to be anything left to find. Just saying. So, yeah. That's just great. But here's the other thing. The pilot who hit that one was able to hit that one. The little $12 party balloon and the 11 ounces of radio equipment. But the pilots over Lake Huron couldn't hit one the size of a desk, ATV sort of thing, and had to shoot 2 missiles. So I'm thinking those pilots, whichever pilot missed, they need to practice a little bit more. Just saying. Sorry for hitting the mic occasionally. Again, Italian, I talk with my hands, and occasionally I knock my mic. Working on it, people. Working on it. I'm human. But anyway, so that's special. That's just super special. So that's where we're at. Yeah. I can see why NORAD is having all sorts of fun right now. Yeah. But that's the balloons. That's the spy balloons. That's what's happening with them. It's a thing. It happened. I don't understand why we use Sidewinder missiles on a $12 party balloon with 11 ounces of ham radio equipment attached to it, but okay. I'm not sure what the decision-making process is now because before they were saying they couldn't shoot down a massive spy balloon that we knew was a spy balloon that we had tracked all the way from freaking China over the U.S. territory, but now all of a sudden we can shoot down all sorts of random stuff that we don't know what it is before we shoot it down over U.S. soil. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had better idea of the parameters of the Chinese spy balloon. So, yay. I don't know. I really was trying to give the people who were calling these shots a benefit of a doubt, and someone was asking me so what I thought these balloons were originally, and I'm like, well, maybe they're just probing. They're trying to see what we can pick up and what we can't pick up because we didn't respond really well to the giant massive one. I was trying to give them a benefit of the doubt. I was trying. No, no, according to the White House, they don't think any of these had anything to do with China and were probably not spy balloons. But we shot them down anyway. I don't have any answers on that one. That's just special. So, we're going to move on to even happier stuff or not happier stuff. Welcome to Ohio and the spill of toxic chemicals. Yeah. So, here's the thing. There are people who are complaining that President Biden hasn't gone to East Palestine, Ohio, where the derailment happened. And I'm going to actually give him a backup on this. I don't know whose call it is, but I really don't feel like the President of the United States going to some of these locations is actually the best way to handle things for a couple reasons. And I'm going to lay those out here. Anytime the President of the United States goes anywhere, and I know this because I have attended a rally with the President of the United States at the time came to, and I have lived in places where the President of the United States has come to. So just before the president even arrives, they have to send in an advance team. They have to send in bomb squads. They have to vet people. They have to close down streets and alternate routes just so that people don't know exactly which way he's going, transportation wise. They have to vet people. There's a series of events, a sequence of things. There's a lot of people that come with the president anytime he goes anywhere. And if you have a small town or a small community that is already dealing with toxic waste, they're already dealing with this huge event, and whether or not they've got enough clean water for the people who are already on the ground to send in all of these additional people that it would require to come before the president comes and with the president, as well as the president, that's going to strain the already limited resources this community has. And for that reason, I just don't feel like it's a good idea. I feel like the president not going to East Palestine right now is probably the best call because it's going to make life harder for everyone who's there. And like I said, I've seen and I've lived through some of the chaos that happens when the president comes through town. And I was living in a bigger location. I was in major cities when this happened. So there were alternate routes to drive. There was other places like you didn't have to be inconvenienced, even though it was inconvenient. Um, and this is a small town in a small area that's already dealing with massive issues. They don't need that extra headache just for a photo op, just for hand holding. Personally, I don't really feel like it's super productive to have someone come do photo ops in these situations. I've never have. I've never really felt like I needed that sort of, you know, whatever um comfort from public officials. I'd much rather know that they're doing their job, that they're making sure that this doesn't happen again, than, answering questions of the press. They can do that from governor's mansions and White House. They don't need to bug the people on the ground who are actually trying to solve the problems because heavens knows the president of the United States is not going to go start filtering water for the people there. And so I've just never felt like that was super productive. I really feel like this social climate we live in nowadays, where public officials have to go and do this big performative, I'm with you, I love you, you're going to be fine. I don't need that. I've never felt like that was necessary, but there are people who do feel comforted by that. There are going to be people who want that, and I know that my opinion might not be a popular one or a common one. There are people who do re- get warm fuzzy, I don't know, but they want that. They expect that from their public elected officials. Again, I'm not one of those people. But you know what? If that's the case, if you feel like you have to send someone, that's why you have a Secretary of Transportation. That's why you have someone who can do that without causing a logistic nightmare, like would be the case if the President of the United States went there right now. And so, for the fact that we're in a political climate nowadays, where people expect that sort of visit from elected officials when there's a tragedy or a disaster. That's why you send a transportive, and that's why I feel like Secretary Buttigieg should have been on the ground sooner. If that's the expectation of we have of our elected officials, he's the elected official that has jurisdiction, has responsibility, has oversight, has a say in these situations, policy wise. He should have been there. He should have been on the ground. He should have been looking into things. And if he wasn't going to do it directly, go himself, he should have sent a representative to do that and said, "Hey, I picked this person from my office. They're going to be there. They're going to ask questions. They're going to answer questions. They're going to do that." But it didn't really happen. And not only did it not happen, now the EPA is giving reports saying everything's hunky dory. It's fine. Drink the water, breathe the air. And universities have come in and said, well, maybe not so much. So I want to share that with you. So right now, in Pennsylvania, their EPA has released a um, basically and state level officials have assured residents that the air and the water quality tests were fine. However, Texas A&M University researchers from there, and I hope I'm saying this right, Carnegie Mellon University, went and did tests themselves, and they revealed last week that 9 of the approximately 50 chemicals that the EPA said had been present on the train when it derailed had higher concentrations than normal in East Palestine. And several of these are carcinogens. They're rather toxic chemicals. And one of them is specifically, and I'm not going to probably say this right either, are Arcalin. Basically, it's a byproduct um, that is similar to cigarette smoke and can lead to lung cancer. That's got an acrid smell. Journalists have reported that there is a funky odor in the air. Um, so obviously, there's some issues with the air. There's chemical sheens on local creeks and rivers. There's dead fish floating to the surface. Kentucky has actually shut off its safety valves um, so that it won't have these toxic chemicals from the Ohio River leaking into its water system. It's kind of nuts. And I get accidents happen. I'm not going to point fingers because I'm not particularly, yeah, I really don't know a whole lot about rail systems and rail maintenance and all of that. But accidents happen and when they do, how they are handled is a test of not only the private organizations involved, but the public organizations involved. And I will say, I am kind of proud of Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to offer some assistance to Ohio. That's really great of him. Um, but then now the EPA is saying they're going to ship some of these chemicals all the way across Ohio and all the way across Iowa to deposit them. And the governor of Iowa was like, I'm not sure that's the best way to handle these chemicals, that they should probably be put in the nearest, you know, location, dealt with in the nearest location instead of shipped all the way across 2 states, considering what's happened. And then the other thing that made me feel uncomfortable is yes, If you're going to have a politician holding hands, making people feel better, Secretary Buttigieg's statement where he said this thing happens all the time, not the most comforting, not really what people want to hear. Maybe it's the truth, but it's not really what people want to hear. So yeah, that's what's going on. We've got UFOs and toxic waste. So lots of warm, fuzzy feelings right now. Other little public service announcement that I really just kind of want to throw out there in case you are in this area. Evidently, Giant Eagle grocery store has pulled its water that has been bottled from the springs in that area. So there has been a water recall in that area for Giant Eagle brand water. So if that is something you drink on a regular basis or have drank, or you have family that live in those areas, it is shipped to Ohio. These stores are located in Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, and Maryland. So just as a public service announcement. But anyway, we'll see where this goes. You're listening to Life of a Military Wife, and I am your host, Sam Wolf.